All right. This is kind of my reaction to the whole John Jones situation that happened that resulted in UFC 151 being canceled a week before it was supposed to happen. You know, it, just to clarify what had happened, uh, Dan Henderson was supposed to fight John Jones. John Jones is the champion. Dan Henderson gets injured, and then they get Chael Sonnen to come in and try to fight John Jones. John Jones refuses to fight Chael because he says that Chael hasn't done anything to deserve a shot at the light heavyweight title, and and the event ended up getting canceled because of that. And well, I mean, I don't think the blame is entirely on John Jones. To take a fight on such a short notice, that's a very risky move. And Chael's no slouch. He's a fighter. I mean, he will fight you. He will make it a dog fight if he has to. Um, that being said, John, Mr. Jones, it's very hard to take this without getting very upset, just because it's like it's like exactly what Chael said. UFC 151 is bigger than you. It's bigger than John Jones. He's like, yeah, he's the cash cow right now in the UFC, the gravy train, but it's still, he's not bigger than the UFC, and he's not bigger than MMA. And for him to refuse to fight Chael, and not be a company man, that looks really bad on him, and it has resulted in about 20 fighters not getting paid. I mean, these fighters have gone through a full training camp. They have gym payments. They have to pay their sparring partners. I mean, school starting up. They have to pay for their kids going back to school. I mean, some of the John Jones can afford to miss an event. These fighters can't. Some of these fighters are earning just $5,000 to $10,000. And that's not a whole lot to earn just a few times each year. I mean, generally a lot of fighters fight just 3 times a year. You have to take taxes out, you have to pay the gym, sparring partners, if you have a manager, you have to pay them. I mean, that's not a whole lot left. I mean, some of these fighters are literally fighting from paycheck to paycheck. And, I've heard fighters. I've heard stories of fighters, living in their cars. It's because they can't afford a place. For Christ's sake, Jose Aldo, when he was first getting into fighting, he had to choose between, eating or going to the gym. It's a very hard life for fighters, and like I said before, John Jones, he's getting paid enough money that he can afford to miss an event. Some of these fighters can't, and it just, to me, just seems like really selfish that John Jones wouldn't suck it up and wouldn't be the company man, and take the event and save it. So these 20 other guys can get paid. And as I am a huge Chael Sonnen fan, I love Chael. He's amazing, but I wouldn't say he would win. He would beat John Jones, especially on a week's notice. It just, mean, I don't think anyone really does. I mean, he probably doesn't even think he can beat John Jones on a week's notice. I mean, you know, John Jones probably would have won, and he would have looked good for saving the event. I mean, so I mean, coming out of this whole controversy, I mean, John Jones looks really, really bad, and and how this will affect his career in the long run, I don't know. I mean, he's gonna have to do something to really make up for this. And the guys that look good, Chael Sonnen, look who looks great. I mean, he looked great coming off the Anderson loss. Being humble and everything, and then and now with this, accepting a fight with the light heavyweight champion on a week's notice. I mean, that's great. And Chris Weidman too. I mean, from what I can understand, after the UFC announced they were going to cancel it, he called and tried to offer the fight. Try to say, "Hey, I'll fight him." And Anderson Silva. I mean, I'm not the biggest Anderson Silva fan, but I have to give him props for this. I mean, after they announced the event was going to be canceled, from what I can understand, Anderson called. He said, "Hey, like I said this before, I don't want to fight John Jones, but you know what? If it will save the event, I will fight him on short notice. I will save the event." And you know what? I mean, even guys like Tito, and Anderson, who have been thorns in Dana's side for a while, they still wouldn't let an event fail. I mean, it kind of comes back to the whole thing, just kind of like who's a company man and who's not. I mean, I guess the UFC kind of wishes that they found out John Jones wasn't going to be that guy who will take the fights on short notice until it was too late. Oh well. Well, that's about all I got for now. So, thanks for listening.